Hi, Year 8. So, yesterday, or in our last lesson, we finished reading The Landlady by Roald Dahl, and we should, at this point now, have completed a set of kind of questions on that text as we went through it. So, if you've not finished the reading or not completed the questions that we've done in the first two lessons this week, then don't do this task now. Go back and finish off those ones first, and you can pick this up tomorrow or on Thursday or Friday. Sorry, yeah, Thursday or Friday. Um, this is the last lesson I'm setting this week, so make sure that you spend time on this and do a really good job because you've obviously got quite a few lessons to finish it. So if you do rush it, then obviously it's not going to be what I'm expecting. So take your time and do a proper job. So this is after reading the story. So if you've not finished the story, like I said, make sure you complete the first two lessons because this one will be pretty difficult without that. Right, so the objective of this lesson, which like I said is going to run for a couple of lessons for the rest of this week, is to consider how the landlady uses character plot structure to create an effect on the reader. So I want you to have a kind of an overview of the whole text, but within that overview, there are three things that I'm looking for. I want you to zoom in on the characters and the character kind of description and creation and the kind of the roles they play, the types of characters they are, the plot, the general kind of the story, and the structure, how it's been put together, what's being told to us, what's not being told to us, the order things happen in, the order things are kind of revealed to us, or as basically how it's been built. Okay? And all those three things, each one of them is meant to kind of make the reader feel or have some kind of effect on us. So that's what we're looking at today and for the rest of this week. So these are things I want you to have under your consideration. Okay? So this is kind of like a review. So you're going to go back over the other lessons. You're going to look back at the text, and I want you to be thinking about how you feel about the following things. The first thing I want you to explain in a couple of paragraphs is on Billy's character. Okay, and I'm suggesting that Billy in this story is presented as being confident and vulnerable. Okay, and I want you to find the evidence of that, of him being a confident character, the things that he says, the things that he does, the way the writer makes him seem confident, and then the opposite of that, this idea of vulnerability and how the writer gives us that kind of side of his character as well. So that's a review of this whole story, just focusing on what Billy does and deciding, well, is that a confident action or is that a vulnerable action? Does that make him seem confident or make him seem vulnerable? And collect all that evidence and write a kind of reflection or review or consideration of how you feel about Billy's character. Okay? When you're happy you've sorted out Billy, I want you to turn your attention onto the landlady herself. Okay? And as you know the whole story, and hopefully you've worked out what the taste of almonds represents, if you haven't, you need to go back and Google that. The landlady is presented as being a lovely lady, a really sweet middle-aged or old lady. It's difficult to put an age on her, but she's definitely seen as being quite lovely. But there's this darker side to her, and she's terrifying as well. So that's what I want you to think about for the second part of this kind of reflection on the text, is how does the writer make her seem lovely and terrifying? So again, like we did with Billy, go back to the text, focusing just on the landlady, noticing the bits that make her seem lovely, and then the clues or the little details that make her seem terrifying. And that's the focus on character. The third focus is about the structure, okay? And in particular, the way the character is holding back information so the reader doesn't get everything all at once. And in many respects, we don't actually get everything at all. There's a whole bit of the story missing. The way the story ends is not conclusive, but so the writer is expecting the reader to do quite a lot of work at the end of the story to finish it off. But how has the writer built up to that? How has the writer managed to create that structure so that we know how the story ends, even though we're not shown it or even told it? We are able to work out what's happened to Billy at the end of the story. And the last thing to review and reconsider is how the narrative acts as a warning to the reader. So this idea that this little short story is a kind of warning. It's like a moral message. Like, we read this, and does it change the way we think about things? Does it change the way we might now behave in the future? Do we learn from Billy's mistake? That's the kind of the answer to question 4 or task 4. So those are the 4 things I want you to think about. And like I said, you've got to the rest of the week now. So you've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's lesson to complete this. So I'm looking for quite a detailed piece of work here. And the little star that flashed up there is a reminder to use quotations in your comments so that your ideas are supported with evidence from the text. There you are, the Year 8. I hope that all makes sense. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can turn in on Friday. And like I said, if you haven't, or if you've not 100% on the story, then obviously you've got time to go back over the story if you need to review it and go over it again. Okay, take care, guys. See you soon.